Well, it's that time of year again where I have to back up a post on Facebook. And in this case, it's not just a post, it's a series of posts on a thread on a Facebook page. That infamous page, which is the New Milford, Connecticut page. No, not New Milford, Connecticut, the private group, the public one with over 15,000 members that everybody knows is a dumpster fire. And why am I backing up this thread? Because of two reasons. One, it covers a topic that I'm going to have to walk on eggshells on because it's a fiery hot topic. And two, the people that administer this group may actually delete the actual posts. And there's some really important stuff in here that nobody's had the balls or temerity to say, and kudos to the folks that had the brass swinging between their legs to say what they had to say and needed to say. And again, we are talking about the dumpster fire that is the New Milford, Connecticut public page, not New Milford, Connecticut wonderful place to live, not the 06776, not the New Milford, Connecticut residents only, and definitely not the New Milford, Connecticut page that everybody's been kicked off of, apparently. So, without further ado, let's get into our covering of this topic. And again, this isn't really something that I'm looking forward to covering. It's just a case of me backing everything up, which I'll be doing on Odyssey because of the nature of the content and the sensitivity of that content. So if you guys are looking to share this, you guys are going to have to follow me on Odyssey, where I will be doing exclusives like this on Odyssey. And I'm no longer dealing with Zuckerberg as much as I possibly can when it comes to the published content that I'm putting together. So guys, if you guys want to keep up with me, that's the place to look. Link is in this video's description. So let's scroll down and let's get into this post. It starts with this post from Seth George. Does anyone know details on the upcoming farm festival? Someone said something about music, food, and vendors. I can't find an event page or what date it is. Thanks, and hope you had a great weekend. So a bit of a disclaimer, I'm going to have to edit for grammar and spelling issues as I go, so you guys will have to forgive me if I stumble over some of this. This is on Facebook, remember, so we're not going to get exactly a Shakespearean elocution here. Additionally, of course, I have to read through this as I go because I don't know how this is going to turn out, and I've got this zoomed in as far as I could possibly reasonably get it, and I don't know if you guys will be able to actually read it as we go along. And I also know from my analytics that everybody's watching on their phones, so I'll have to I'm reading this out loud so that you guys can follow along and won't have to hold the camera, or your phones about 2 inches from your face to read it. Okay, so Lee Johnson is the first reply. There are times when people need to put aside their differences and unite as one. I believe this is one of those times. Local farmers are being attacked by the not in my backyard syndrome, NIMBY, by people that, for the most part, have moved from somewhere else and don't like the country life and given a chance would turn this into Lower Westchester County if they could. I beg you to put aside your differences. Each of you farmers needs each other. And Nick Pruder responds to this. And by the way, a special kudos to Nick. And Nick, my man, dude, this is your campaign speech. If I don't know if you plan on running or not, but by your good graces, if you are willing to allow me, even if you don't run, Nick, on this alone, and this really needed to be said, I'd be happy to write your name in. And honestly, Nick, I don't know if it's going to come to it, but if you don't mind, I would really like to write your name in for town council this year. So without further ado, let's dive into Nick's response. Yes, we are being attacked, and it's a disgrace. I was the last farm stand on the last farm in my hometown in Westchester. I watched the farm where I grew up get bulldozed and converted into a bunch of crappy McMansions. We came here to escape that. We got our zoning permit from the town to set up a farm stand. Super easy to do. Followed the rules that are in place, grew our operation from a pair of sheep to the largest sheep operation in town, leased several hundred acres of land with my old agricultural college roommate, volunteered on the Farmland Preservation Committee and multiple other regional agricultural advocacy groups, and worked on an off-farm job, or sometimes two, to help offset the boatloads of money that we sink into farming. Excuse me. Nick also served on the Facilities Utilization Committee and was the chairman of that committee, and I served with him as well. Good times were had. And what happens? A handful of people attack and disparage us on their privately controlled social media pages. They claim we're not real farmers because we're not full-time, though 58% of farmers nationwide have a primary occupation off-farm, but why let facts get in the way? They censor any dissenting point of view. They attack farms with generations of history in this town, and they claim everyone is out to get them, and that anyone who isn't in their camp is trying to somehow hurt farming. Really? I'm one of 3 people with a career in land use planning on this committee, and this response reflects my personal opinion. We looked at the zoning code for ways to make farming easier, and we found a bunch of them. Our forum was the first discussion of how to fix some of them. Maybe we could have communicated that better. I'll own that. But this nonsense that we are somehow the death blow to agriculture in New Milford is laughable. I completely agree with you that there are people who are hostile to the sights and smells and unpleasantries of farming, and guarantee you that they will try to suppress farming operations here sooner or later, as has been done in countless other towns nationwide. We made an effort to nip that in the bud, so I urge you to think long and hard about what is really motivating our naysayers. It's all pretty obvious to me. And we're going to go ahead and like that. Alicia Sterling, well said. Oh, just as a quick aside, yes, this is a public page. So no, I'm not doxing anyone by doing this. Anyone can see this information, even if you don't have a Facebook account. That's how public the settings are on this page. Reed Maroche. I think that's how I pronounce your last name. Sorry, Reed. Nick Pooter. I don't see how local working farmers and other small producers who depend on farm stand revenue benefit from these new regulations. Last spring and summer with COVID and the long power outage, it's clear how essential our local farmers are to our community. We're damn lucky they're here producing and selling what they can, and I think we need to protect their power, which they need to prosper, not regulate it. As the COVID food shortages showed, smaller local farmers need flexibility to expand or contract as needed, and they don't need to be met with a town official and intrusive regulations. Smaller farmers will concede a measure of their current power with these regs, and I haven't heard anything that similarly empowers or is helpful to them. But I'm listening. To be fair to Reed, he and I disagree on a lot of things, but he's one of the few people I disagree with on Facebook on a regular basis who I consider to be probably good faith. Like I've said repeatedly, I don't have a problem with mainstream Democrats. With Democrats in this town, as a rule, I don't have a problem with them. I do have a problem with a handful of really bad actors that have kind of consumed DTC leadership. We're talking like 6 or 7 people, but no, not Reed. Reed, I can say is somebody I disagree with, but I don't dislike. Lisa Marie Agee. Nick Pooter, totally agree. We became farmers accidentally, but we knew that whatever we did, we wanted to do it the right way. 20 years in New Milford has brought us a successful business that we work very hard at, and thank God we have wonderful neighbors. I do agree with you. The presentation was bad. Draft regulations without public discussion and dialogue seems counterproductive. The process should have included a questionnaire, maybe? A few public meetings to explore what problems exist. Maybe the consensus is that there are no problems, but there needs to be dialogue. And FP, I have no idea what that is not the governing body. Farmland preservation is not the governing body, and all they can do is suggest changes. I think everyone should take a step back and have some polite discussion after growing season. So the business that she's talking about, this isn't doxing anyone either, is Goatboy Soaps. They make soap out of goat's milk. Interestingly enough, their story is really interesting. I'll put a link to their website in this video's description as well, so you guys can check them out. Really cool products, really good stuff, really good story. I'd love to have them on to talk about that sometime. Hopefully Lisa and Rick will be amenable to having some conversation sometime. Oh, geez, I should get rid of notifications. Reed Maroche. Again, Reed, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your last name. It's French. Forgive me. I'm happy to talk through this with you since you're someone who is actually interested in solving, not making, problems. And everyone is welcome to the meetings. This was on the agenda for months, and only 1 or 2 people are ever in the audience. Lisa, in all fairness to the committee, there were open meetings where this was discussed prior to the forum. Nobody came, not one person except Marjorie. Lisa, Nick Pooter, fair enough, but maybe some proactive outreach to farmers could have been done. I think that was the disconnect. Matt Johnson, very interesting. Reed, Nick Pooter, why not discuss it here openly? It's public policy that affects the community that gathers here. These changes should be readily understood by everyone, but they're not. This is a great place to make it clear where we can all see it, misinterpretations corrected. It seems so secretive. Townspeople shouldn't have to attend special meetings to get accurate information about farm stand regulations under consideration. Farm stands are food suppliers, and when supply from outside is interrupted as it was last year, these issues suddenly affect the whole community. Reed, to Lisa. Why not have the discussion now? Why not at least turn this hate fest into something productive? Hate fest? Chris Cosgrove, Nick Pooter. I attended the meeting and one person, female last name Harvey maybe, had thoughtful, helpful, and reasonable comments aimed at specific sections of the proposed regulations. For the record, Chris Cosgrove is a councilman on town council here in Milford. Most other comments were generalizations, and even when the chairman asked for people to point out which new proposal made it more difficult for farmers, they couldn't point to anything. It seemed to me the committee was looking for constructive feedback and got very little. Lisa, read Maroche. I'd love to meet with and hear from other farmers, but Facebook is not the place. In-person meetings should be allowed soon, and I prefer having conversations. Read L. Day Johnson. What are a few of the many reasons you won't discuss it on Facebook? A public in-person meeting has its advantages, but everyone who's interested can't make it. Not these days. If you can make virtual town meetings. I don't know why, but a great many more people log into Facebook and join in the discussion. So although the format isn't ideal, the reach and access is, and then the information remains on this page for all to see. Lisa Mariaggi, why not Facebook? It's public policy. Why not include as many people with as much information as discussion as possible? Lisa, read Roche, because it really doesn't include everyone who might be interested. It's impersonal, people are blocked, and I miss talking. Too many keyboard warriors. Good point. You know what? Too many keyboard warriors. Like Lisa Mariaggi. It can be raucous, but that's a good old American tradition in town meetings. The only people who can't be held accountable on Facebook are hiding behind fake names like Seth George. See more. But discussion isn't my main point. Anybody who doesn't want to doesn't have to join the discussion. The point is providing accurate information to the townspeople, information that townspeople, especially farmers, can read on the most trafficked New Milford site. Why aren't the proposed regulations and definitions posted here? There's no security issue, it's public policy. Proposed changes to farmers' rights shouldn't be secret or spoken of only in poorly attended meetings. Shouldn't be hard for townspeople to find. Transparency, that's all. Okay. We're not going to continue on this part of the thread forever. Because there's much more important stuff to get to. Lisa Mariaggi, well, you can't be held accountable if you have people blocked. I wonder what you're referring to, Lisa. Whatever could you be referring to? When you have people blocked and run your own page, you set the agenda and pick the participants. See more. That is the problem with Facebook. That's the problem with this page and many of the others. I don't mind raucous, but I want one body, one vote. I agree. Proposed changes should not be secret, and as I said, I think changes should be proposed after information is gathered. New Milford's right to farm ordinance has been used statewide to develop regulations. If changes need to be made, a poll of existing farmers should be taken. Read. Lisa, that sounds like a lot of non-transparency talk. I'm as opposed to secrecy now as I was when Groenback was in office. While farm regulation changes are being discussed by leaders, those proposed changes should be well understood by the entire town. Farmers for sure, but not only farmers. This affects all of us because our farmers provide food, and as we just experienced last year, access to food from outside our town can suddenly halt. In addition to protecting a farmer's right to run his business, this concerns emergency preparedness. The proposed regulation should be posted publicly here, where the highest number of townspeople can see it. Lisa, I agree. They should be posted on the town website, and they can be posted anywhere and they should be posted on the town website, and they can be posted anywhere and everywhere. However, drafting regulations is up to zoning. Yes, posted here, posted on all the NM pages. What I'm saying is there are people that cannot participate in this site from 10 years ago when they started it. Many elderly people are not on Facebook. We need to hear from people who are really informed, not interpretations of the laws. And that goes for everyone. And if we are going the high-tech way of a town crier, then we have to make sure the information is correct. Tom Dyer, sounds like a lot of bitter people that are jealous of someone. Is this a junior high page? Sue Snow. Tom Dyer, yeah, that's really not what it is at all. Unfortunately, the people in question are nothing like they portray themselves as online and burn everyone eventually. Sue, whoever could you be referring to? Ann Miller Flynn. Sue Snow, like you. I told you guys, this chain gets really fiery. Read, holy cow, a mob attack on a couple over their efforts to protect farmer rights, see more, and organize a farm festival. Things sure have changed. I remember when New Milford led the state protecting farmer rights from newcomers trying to impose the rules. This attempt by local government working with well-connected landowners to take control from local farmers is going to hurt farmers who rely on farm stand income. Oh boy, I hope somebody responds to this. No matter how many BS promises you hear, the law as written will determine how far rich landowners can push you around. All right. And they're not pushing for these regulations only to ignore them. They plan to use them. You might enjoy ganging up on this couple for your own reasons, but you should think twice about going along with these new farm stand regulations that people like quote-unquote Seth George are trying so hard to dupe you into. You're going to lose the right to make your own decision about your own business. Don't give away your power. Fight this. So I'm not actually going to take a position on the actual legislation that's up for vote, or however it's that's being discussed here, because I haven't read it. Noah Johnson. Is there a way to copy and paste this entire thing before it gets taken down? Well, Noah, thanks for bringing that up. While we're on that, here we are, Noah. We're doing that for you. Thanks for the shout out. Ed Strack, Noah Johnson, screenshots work wonders. Well, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, how many words is 60 frames a second worth? Ed Strack, I'm going to need a new phone. I think Noah just upgraded to an abacus. Give him a break, Seth George. Rebecca Shaw, pretty sad that during a time when people should be getting together and supporting each other are at war instead. Ann Miller Flynn, I would also like to know how some of these farmers think they're going to make a living if this town referendum goes through, since they won't be able to sell things that are not grown on the land where the farm is registered. Since most have crops spread out in other areas, lease land and keep livestock on others' property, that is part of their referendum. Also, they will need to install and get permits for parking. They will also need to stop buying produce from wholesale retailers and selling them at farmers, representing them as their own. The Farm Fest was just to make people aware of this, with no admission charge to gain support for our farms. The question is why is the town doing this to our farms? People with hobby farms and farm stands on the side of the road will be affected. The little man gets hit again. Well, let's see those 16 replies. Nick Pooter, did you read the proposal, not referendum, section about roadside tables? Oh, geez. Hold on. Let's go back, of course, because Facebook is ass. Seth responds, Nick Pooter, thank you for serving on the committee. With all due respect, though, you should keep commenters to those who live in our town. At your farm, it was overrun by out-of-town residents, Seymour, running a hobby farm. I hope you weighed their comments appropriately. Oh, man. Spitting venom, Seth. Jana Larkin, this is also a great post. We're going to go see more. Ann Miller Flynn, if you would take a minute to actually think, instead of defending and reporting back to NM Muscle headquarters, I wonder who that is, you might learn something. No one gets more upset than a narcissist being accused of something that they definitely did. Hence the constant bombardment of defensive posts by your two friends. Whoever could you be referring to, Jana? Which two friends are you referring to? Take a deep breath and try to fully absorb this. Your two buddies are not farmers. They are sociopaths. Wow, balls. Jada, what sounds like a woman's name, has the biggest balls of anyone here, apparently. They will use you, just like they have done to everyone else in this town. Your loyalty through PMs, private messages, defending them on social media, and helping them in person will not keep them loyal to you! ! For years, they asked me to make business referrals when I had never even used their business, and to defend them in comments on posts that they didn't like, and here we go, get rid of that I was not involved with. When he started to become obsessed politically, I noticed that all of the people that he had befriended and juiced for information slowly became enemies as he stabbed them in the back for his own personal gain. I was unfriended and blocked for absolutely no reason. The only thing that I can think of is that he asked me to choose between one of my friends or himself. I told him that I would not choose. He was also irritated because I refused to share his post with friends or on other pages. They are causing or will be creating issues for all the actual real farmers in Milford, some of whom happen to be very good friends of mine. All of this because they themselves want tax breaks and want to make a living by skimming off of their own and other people's nonprofits and ideas. Ask your friend, which friend is that, about all of the tree work that he hasn't been doing. It must be nice to be a trust fund baby. He seems super paranoid and stressed. He may actually need to start working at some point instead of being a Facebook hero. Oh man. So Nick, I love your post, right? Because it's all of the things that are in that are great. Also, here's a different type of post that I'm really enjoying too. The quote unquote town is not coming after them. They're making it up. Yup. ellipses, ellipses, ellipses. They are making it up. I'll say it again. They're making it up. I know that may be hard for you to swallow, but that's the actual truth, despite what he shares with his quote-unquote loyal followers on his own page. Booting and blocking anyone who dares to question him. Jesus Christ. Let me ask you some questions. Have you ever seen anyone have so many issues with a town? I mean, honestly, actually, make that 2 towns. They've sued the town of Roxbury. Who does that? By the way, he was being fired from being the fire chief in Roxbury. You should ask him why. You should also ask him about the altercation that he had with his wife, fraud, drug, and illegal weapons possessions. Disavow. Ask your hometown hero who lives in another town who wants nothing to do with him, by the way, if he served in the military or how many people he has stabbed in the back over the years. Ask them how many people they've blocked, because the average normal person only has a few or none at all. For the record, I have like 1 person blocked, and it was basically a spammer. You should also ask them why so much drama follows them in every aspect of their lives. Why would our town officials spend so much time going after one couple? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. I don't know anyone else in our entire town who has had these types of issues. Do you? You don't ever think to ask yourself that the poor me posts on his pages are strange and ridiculously frequent? Ask him to prove that all of this is actually happening instead of just believing it because he says it's so. The truth is that they are both pathological liars who go around strong-arming others. Jesus. Again, disavow. If they do not cave to their demands, telling people that they will physically harm them or harm their families. They insist that they are part of the mob and that they will send people to hurt them or spend ridiculous amounts of money through attorneys to destroy their lives. His wife has a restraining order against her for threatening and trespassing. Again, disavow. You should ask them about that. I know 4 other people who wish that they had also filed restraining orders against them, but were too afraid to do it because they feared physical harm to themselves or to their family members. They constantly threaten to destroy personal property, business property, or to sue. This has been a quote-unquote business practice of theirs for many years. Threatening and ripping off local business owners, especially those who are direct competition to his mulch and tree business, and unfortunately many restaurant owners too. They also stalk people via drone, by car, and on foot. Again, all disavow. Guys, this isn't me trying to inject opinion. This is me just backing up what's been said. So I'm just reading what's been said. No opinion. Trespass on other people's properties, take videos, pictures, and voice recordings of others without permission or consent. To answer your actual question, 50% of the items at a farm stand. Jada, this is like a 10-minute diatribe, and we get to answer your actual question in the last paragraph. 50% of the items at a farm stand or farm store can be things that are not grown or produced on their own land. Any products that are being sold but not made by that specific farm must be marked or labeled so that customers are aware that they did not produce it. At least that's how I understood it listening to the farmland preservation meeting. The town of New Milford is not doing anything to its farmers. The wannabe farmers will end up hurting the real ones. Tell your buddies to get a life. If you still support them after reading this, there's definitely something wrong with you. Oh, man. Man, you really have to have a good sense of humor living in this town, man. Like, I love my town. It is the greatest town in America and all, as Pete says. But, man, you really have to have some thick skin and a really, really good sense of humor here. Man. So, let's see some of the replies. Rick Agee. Hey, Rick. Jana Larkin, thank you for saying what most people are afraid of saying. Yeah, I don't know anyone who has, again, like I said, Jana Larkin has the biggest balls in New Milford. And man, Rick is not wrong in saying thank you for saying what most people are afraid of saying. I have been accused of being Seth. I am not Seth, but I totally understand why someone who has been a victim of their threats would want to remain anonymous. See more. Don't attack the messenger, but try to understand the message instead. And Flynn, you know nothing about me. Nothing. Okay, and then we get into some nonsense that doesn't need to be read. Some back and forth flame warring. Not necessary. Stephen Boston. Ann Miller Flynn. I thought the legislation protected farmers to grow and sell their products without having to compete with farm stands operated by non-farmers and non-locals. Isn't this a good thing? Stephen, whoever could you be referring to here? Let's see the reply. Yes. So, yeah, Yeah, that was a fiery comment. So, like, Kevin David shaking my head. Howie Hammer, it's probably on a page everyone is blocked from. Yeah, folks. I know I already liked it, which means I already read it. But the second read through is just as delicious as the first. Let's see the replies. By the way, 29 likes. Yep, there's a reason for that. Howie Hammer, maybe there's some farmers only group in New Milford. For crying out loud, why are we doing this again? No, just a group run by a guy who in his imagination thinks he's a farmer. Stephen Boston even comes in audio for those who can't read because we know we can't write. Jesus Christ. Disavow. Seth, you're going to get me in trouble. Ben Weed. Okay. I got off that crappy page before the shit hit the fan. Not right. That's from Lindell. No way am I going to get that right. What the hell happened? Well, Elise, hopefully you're watching this video. Maybe you can get an idea of what's happening from the outside. Rick Agee, Howie Hammer, yup. Dan Weed, I joined the blocked club today. Yeah, well, we've all been in that blocked club, Dan. Like, I'm in there too. We all feel the pain. Diane Cleef, Dan Weed, you were blocked? Whoa. Oh, man. Like I said, this town is town. I love this town. Like, you can't come to this town and not have a sense of humor. Howie Hammer, yeah, you have to agree. You're gone. Ray Lewis. Ray, you are going to get me in so much trouble sometime. Ray Lewis, disavow. Ray Lewis is in New Milford the biggest and best troll in the entire town. So Ray, when we're passing out awards at the end of the year, our Facebook awards at the end of the year, you have fully earned that Troll of the Year award. I don't even know. Should I click on the replies? Like, I can't even touch this. I can't even touch this because I know I'm going to get in trouble. But let's see what the replies were anyways. Dan Weed, Ray Lewis, no Christmas tree emoji. Let's see the replies. Christopher Street farmers are tax dodgers. Steve Kleppen, Ray Lewis, good to see you're consistent with your ignorance. Yeah, guys. Yeah. Ray's a funny guy. Ray's a funny guy. And I do feel like Ray Liotta saying that. But hey there, old McDonald. Hey there, old McDonald. How's your flock of trees? E-I-E-I-O. Yeah, no, this, I probably shouldn't have expanded this. All right. Andrew D. Baldwin. I hear the fake farmer, whoever that is. No idea. I have no idea who that is. May have to cancel the fake farm festival. May not have anywhere to host it since he isn't actually a farmer. Jesus. Oh no, I shouldn't have expanded this. Kelly Cole. Andrew Baldwin. Oh, poor Farmer Joe. Oh, another Seth George one. Oh, this ought to be gold. Is Meredith Ann this guy's wife we are talking about? Is she his mouthpiece or something? If so, what happened with him at Camilla's cupboard? As we'd like to know why, since he isn't welcome there anymore. Something with a grant? Racial cable. I'm very confused. Farmers War in New Milford? Join the 06776, Rachel. Andrew D. Baldwin, Rachel Cable. Well, you see it here. It's not actually a farmer's war. Well, you see here, it's not actually a farmer's war when there's actually only one farmer. The other one is the fraud, but yeah, I guess you can say that. All of you sound like 2-year-olds. Damn straight they do. And this is why I'm laughing so hard. I mean, come on. You can't do this and not have some fun, right? Andrew Baldwin, your name calling is disgusting, especially for an adult. Andrew T. Baldwin, selective blocking and deleting. As always, you don't want anyone to know you're not a real farmer and have no real farm to host a festival and call your own. Ray Lewis, yeah, okay. All right, here we go. Not going to click on that reply. I'm not clicking on that. It looks like too much of a mess. No, I'm not clicking on Ann Miller's link. Oh, yeah, okay. So this is a broken link anyways. Go on to New Milford Live Music. Apparently, Ray Lillis likes Pauly Shore. Don't get it, Ray. Does anyone know if there will be fireworks this year? Okay, so I'll cover this because even though it's a complete non sequitur. New Milford fireworks takes place on Saturday, July 3rd this year. I think they came early this year. Okay, Seth George. Meredith Ann, could you explain? Here we go. This is going to get me in trouble. See more. Could you explain what happened the time at Helping Hands for Heroes was going to buy a bunch of lunches from Dino at the pizza station, but then screwed him over because your husband said he was getting too much publicity and your husband was supposed to get the credit? So then after Gino bought all the food, Joe then backed out. This is probably going to get me in more trouble. Alex Alferi. South George, I don't need to get involved in all this drama. The guy dug his own hole. I don't talk bad about people. Leave me out of this, please. People can use their own judgment. I don't need to stir the pot. Sure. Or Joseph Lenoci, of if you almost didn't pay him after the trash bash, something else. Yeah. I don't think we're going to continue on that one. Oh, yeah, Peter Mercado. Yeah, I'm going to need more popcorn. Hey, that's why we're doing this, because it's fun. I hope everybody watching at home is enjoying this as much as I am. If you need context, then you can't afford it. Seth George, Ed Schrack, who was the contractor who ripped through the fiber optics, or was it utilities on the town's dime? Was that in Young's Field or Railroad Street? Oh boy. Ed Schrack, did you get the recordings yet? Oh boy. No, we're not going to do this. But what's this? Seth George. Oh, okay. So we actually need the first half of this. Here we go. This is going to get me in trouble. This is definitely going to get me in trouble. And I'll expand this. So you guys can see why this is going to get me in trouble. There we go. Is everybody happy? Quadco Joe. Well, the town of Milford strikes again. This morning, Dan Weed contacted me and told I can't have Farm Fest 2021 at his farm. He explained he was visited by town officials on a Sunday. Those officials told him how terrible Meredith Ann and I are. If he has the event, he will be treated as bad as me or even worse. I asked him to please tell me who these individuals were. Dan explained he was scared for his livelihood, and he can't say because he feared retaliation. Dan and I spoke afterwards, and he invited me up to his farm to discuss. He reiterated he was terrified of the people involved and feared for his livelihood. Dan acknowledged that Councilman Chris Cosgrove and Mike Furman, along with an unidentified woman, paid him the visit. He also said he contacted zoning and will accept any permit they want just so he does not have any problem. Wait, it gets better. Dan Weed then became argumentative and told me to go F myself and to get off his F property. And then Dan called the New Milford Police Department and lied to the police and said that I threatened him. So it looks like this is the other half of that. Dan Weed did not consider that because of the sleaziness of the situation that my wife, who was with me, was recording the in-person conversation. This is not a single-party consent state, FYI. Strong-arming and instilling fear into a farmer is not okay. Threatening a farmer's livelihood is not okay. It's unfortunate that Dan Weed found this as his only option to survive. The infamous Seth George, interestingly, made a post as soon as I left Dan Weed's farm. If y'all are going to try and set someone up, you should practice more because you're really bad at it. Sad day for New Milford. Okay. So let's see, because there are a lot of replies to this. This ought to be good. Another one. Dan Weed, it took me a long time to see what was really going on, but I'm glad it's over. Chris Cosgrove, Dan Weed. Hi, Dan. I don't think we've ever actually met, but according to Meredith, I threatened you. Can you confirm what she posted just below here is total BS? Dan Weave, Chris Cosgrove. Yes, Chris, you were never here and never threatened me. Oh boy. Ed Track. So that's yours, but wait, I thought there wasn't a police report. And Track, I guess you can't believe everything Meredith Ann says or anything. She said Dan was the one that tortured that cow. Now she is saying something different. So that's yours. Ed Track, do you know what happened with them up at the silo? They were all up in there and then proof gone? Ed Track, Seth George, I've heard some stories. Seth George replying to Ed Track, what did you hear about the silo? Police involved there too? Oh wow, seems to be lie after lie after lie. Okay, so here we go. Here's another one. Well, Chris Cosgrove is pretty active on this page, so maybe he will weigh in. Ed Schrack, Chris Cosgrove, are you a threatening man? Chris responds to Seth, I've never even met Dan. I know his brother and his parents, but not Dan. This is complete BS, but is anyone really surprised? Whatever do you mean by that, Chris? Ed Schrack, Seth George, I met Chris when he was running the first time for town council. He didn't seem to be a threatening man. Sue Snow, Chris is not a threatening man at all. Super salt of the earth, gentle, nicer than nice person, and I am not saying it because I'm some Republican bootlicker in on some big conspiracy against local quote-unquote farm heroes. Jesus, Sue. I'm a super liberal woman that just happens to know how toxic and false some people are. Nick Pooter, I'm so glad someone knows how to actually spell heroes. Oh my God, I know what that's a reference to. Oh my God. No, I can't touch that one. Oh, look at all of these laugh emojis. Okay. Well, I think we have to like this one. Well done, Nick. Well done. In fact, Nick, this might be the post of, this might be the troll post of the entire thread. Like, you get your medal. You definitely get your medal on that one. Elaine LaFontaine, Sue Snow, Chris Cosgrove has been very rude to me and our situation in our neighborhood. You could, Chris Cosgrove, Elaine LaFontaine. Can you refresh my memory on what situation or what neighborhood? Your name doesn't ring a bell. Kelly Marie, Elaine is that the neighbor where all the illegal dumping from Grasso is taking place? Kelly Marie, yes, absolutely. Chris Cosgrove, you called me a liar and to stop with the BS without knowing the details of our situation. Not a great bit of communication coming from a councilman. Chris Cosgrove, Elaine LaFontaine, I think you have me confused with someone else. Do you have any proof of this? Also, context of place and time might be helpful. Chris Cosgrove, the comments removed. I had a bunch of screenshots of this type of commentary. Here we go. And a few were removed. For instance, Rick Age removed a thread that involved some comments and then blocked me. This was all regarding Paul Zemansky's involvement with Grasso in the situation. Elaine LaFontaine, it was from a couple of years ago. Chris Cosgrove, it was you. I was surprised at your response as you were a new councilman. Elaine LaFontaine. Paul Murphy was also negatively commenting on the situation without knowing what we went through. Elaine LaFontaine. Chris Cosgrove, it is always helpful to know all of the facts and situation before defending, in this case, the wrong person. Chris Cosgrove, Elaine LaFontaine. So you claim I called you a liar. I'm sorry, but I highly doubt that. Please show a screenshot to refresh my memory. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's not something I would do, and I believe I'd remember it if I did. Elaine LaFontaine, Chris Cosgrove, you did. You were trying to protect PS. Paul Zemansky is who I'm assuming that is, since they already brought that name up. I'm not digging up any screenshots right now. Just remember that as a councilman, it is your job to help the community, not protect the good old boys. Chris Cosgrove, Elaine LaFontaine. With all due respect, you accuse me of calling you a liar, claim proof of it, yet after several hours failed to provide any proof. Do you really expect to be taken seriously? I'm very aware that my volunteer position of a councilman is to help our community. I'll challenge you to bring up a single vote I've ever made that wasn't in the best interest of the community. That doesn't mean we have to agree on all votes, but every one I've made, I can provide my logic on how it helps the community. Ed Schrack, and this is going to close it up. Did you see that ad in the paper as well? Andrew D. Baldwin, oh boy. Oh, don't forget that Mrs. Do-Gooder has a restraining order against her because she's a psycho. Ed Schrack, no. It wasn't long ago when a do-gooder had a story written up about the proposed farming ordinances. Not clicking that link. Ed Schrack, I thought the Joe guy made a molt as a hobby on his mom's property. He has a farm. Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm gonna get myself kicked out of this town. Ed Schrack, Seth George, somewhere by the sounds of it. Ed Schrack, maybe it's in Roxbury at his house. Not sure why he would comment on the New Milford regs then. Ed Schrack, maybe. It's strange how into New Milford politics for someone who doesn't live here, doesn't own property here. Again, disavow. Seth George, if you Google him, it seems his property, he is pretty active in Roxbury too. Ed Schrack, as Seth George, Googling him turns up some interesting results, doesn't it? Ed Schrack, holy cow, seems to have drama follow him. Kelly Marie, Ed Schrack, are you or are you not related to Tammy Bass? Are you her cousin? Ed Schrack, Kelly Marie, dad's cousin or something like that. What does that have to do with anything? Well, speaking of what does anything have to do with anything, thanks everybody for sitting through that. Now that it's all backed up, hope you guys enjoy. We'll be in touch another time. Good night, everybody.